There's something about the 1970s, that golden glow between the chaos of the 60s and the electric dream of the 80s. It was the decade when rock learned to feel, when rebellion met poetry, when heartbreak had guitar solos, and when music stopped being background noise and became a way of life. These songs weren't just hits, they were moments, frozen echoes that never aged, even as the world spun forward. So let's travel back, to the smoke-filled studios, to the cracked vinyl, to the magic that refuses to die. Number 10, Hotel California, Eagles, 1976. It wasn't just a song, it was a haunting dream you could never wake up from. When Don Henley and Glenn Frey crafted Hotel California, they didn't mean a hotel. They meant America itself, a place of beauty, greed, and illusions. The guitar solo, a duet between Don Felder and Joe Walsh, became one of rock's greatest endings, smooth, eerie, endless. Listeners argued for decades about its meaning, fame, addiction, even the dark side of California's glamour. But one truth remains. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. The song captured the weary soul of the 70s, golden sunsets fading into neon nights, dreams turning into ghosts. Almost 50 years later, its chords still sound like a slow-motion sunset, beautiful, sad, and unforgettable. Number 9, Dream On, Aerosmith, 1973. Before Aerosmith became rock gods, they were just hungry kids from Boston, broke, angry, and chasing something they couldn't name. Steven Tyler wrote Dream On in his parents' living room, staring at the piano and wondering if he'd ever make it. That cry, "Dream On," was more than a lyric. It was a promise to himself. The orchestra build, the slow rise to his iconic scream. It's the sound of ambition burning through youth. The song didn't explode right away. It took years to climb the charts. But when it did, it became an anthem for anyone who ever refused to give up. Every time Tyler belts that final note, it feels like a decade's worth of hope and pain condensed into one breath. Number 8, Bohemian Rhapsody, Queen, 1975. Freddie Mercury didn't write songs. He built worlds. Bohemian Rhapsody was madness on paper. 6 minutes long, no chorus, part opera, part rock. Every record executive said it would fail, but Mercury didn't care. He locked himself in the studio with Brian May, Roger Taylor, and John Deacon, layering vocals until the tape nearly snapped. The result? A song that sounded like nothing before. Dramatic, mysterious, larger than life. The "Mama Just Killed a Man" verse felt personal yet universal. Was it guilt, art, or a confession? No one knows, and that's what made it timeless. When Freddie sang it live, even the heavens seemed to bend closer. Decades later, Bohemian Rhapsody still feels like a thunderstorm trapped inside a song, unpredictable, beautiful, and eternal. Number 7, Stairway to Heaven, Led Zeppelin, 1971. There's something mystical about Stairway to Heaven. It begins like a whisper, gentle acoustic strings, then slowly grows into a storm. Jimmy Page's guitar, Robert Plant's cryptic lyrics, and John Bonham's drums fuse into something spiritual. Plant claimed the song just came to him while writing, as if it already existed in the air. The lyrics about a woman buying her stairway to heaven became an obsession for generations. Is it about greed, faith, or something far deeper? Whatever the truth, the solo alone is enough to make time stop. Played backwards or forwards, analyzed or just felt. Stairway remains rock's sacred text, untouchable and everlasting. Number 6, Let It Be, The Beatles, 1970. It was the Beatles' swan song and Paul McCartney's whispered prayer. Written after a dream of his late mother, Mary, Paul woke up with her words still echoing. Let it be. Amid the chaos of the Beatles' breakup, the song felt like light filtering through smoke. Simple, soulful, almost gospel. It wasn't angry, it wasn't bitter, it was acceptance. As the band crumbled, this song stood still, gentle, forgiving, timeless. Every note of that piano feels like a goodbye that doesn't hurt anymore. Decades later, Let It Be still comforts lost souls, proof that even endings can sound like grace. Number 5. Smoke on the Water. Deep Purple, 1972. A single riff changed everything. 4 notes, simple, heavy, unforgettable. Smoke on the Water came from disaster. A Frank Zappa concert in Montreux ended in flames after someone fired a flare gun into the ceiling. Watching the casino burn, Deep Purple turned tragedy into triumph. Ritchie Blackmore's guitar became history's most famous beginner riff, but behind it was chaos, fear, and adrenaline. When they recorded it, they didn't realize they were writing rock's national anthem. Today, every guitarist still learns it first, not just because it's easy, but because it feels alive. Born from smoke, the song still burns. Number 4. Go Your Own Way. Fleetwood Mac, 1977. Love, betrayal, and music. The 3 ingredients of Fleetwood Mac's masterpiece. Lindsey Buckingham wrote this during the band's internal heartbreak. Everyone was breaking up with everyone. Stevie Nicks was the muse, the pain, and the rival. Go Your Own Way isn't polished. It's raw emotion carved into melody. The tension in the studio was unbearable. Yet that tension made the song. Every strum, every shout feels like an argument that never ends. But through the bitterness, there's freedom. That rare 70s energy of letting go and moving forward. It's messy, it's human, it's real. Number 3. Imagine. John Lennon, 1971. John Lennon's most peaceful song was also his boldest. Imagine stripped away guitars, noise, and anger, leaving only a piano and a dream. Lennon imagined a world without borders, greed, or religion. Some called it naive, others called it divine. But in those few lines, he captured what humanity keeps chasing: unity. The simplicity was its power. Yoko Ono's influence is everywhere. Her art, her minimalism, her belief in peace. Together, they turned a melody into a manifesto. Even today, when chaos reigns, Imagine still feels like a hand reaching out through the static. Calm, fragile, eternal. Number 2. Born to Run. Bruce Springsteen, 1975. Springsteen was 25, broke, and desperate when he wrote Born to Run. It wasn't just a song, it was his way out. Every line bleeds with longing for escape. Highways, small towns, broken dreams. The wall of sound production made it feel cinematic. The saxophone solo from Clarence Clemons turned it into gospel. Critics called it the anthem of the working class. But for Bruce, it was a love letter to every kid who ever stared out a window and wanted more. Half a century later, the song still feels like motion itself. Restless, burning, alive. Number 1. Bridge Over Troubled Water. Simon and Garfunkel, 1970. The decade began with this, a hymn disguised as a pop song. Paul Simon wrote it for Art Garfunkel, though it could have been written for anyone carrying pain. Bridge Over Troubled Water is more than melody. It's mercy. The piano builds like sunrise. Garfunkel's voice soars like forgiveness itself. It was recorded as their partnership fractured, and maybe that's why it sounds so honest. The message that you can lean on someone when you're tired transcends everything. Over 50 years later, it still feels like the sound of healing. These weren't just songs, they were lifelines. Pieces of the 1970s that refused to die, echoing through time like warm ghosts. They remind us that music isn't about fame or charts. It's about connection, about how a few chords and words can make us feel infinite.